Welcome, mighty companions. This is our joining for Chapter 20 partners that are going through the Chapter 20 partner program. So you don't have to be in that program to join us right now. It's just a joining to share what we're learning from Jesus as we go through chapter 20 of Jesus, the New Covenant, together with Jesus and our brother, share what we're learning from him through direct experience. And what we do is we have this joining on Saturdays at 11 a.m. Every 2 weeks. So if you are seeing this in between, you can look for the next joining. We have a messenger group where we share updates, and we also have an app, the Enlightenment app, the Joining Enlightenment app, that if you connect with us either through YouTube or Facebook, our Facebook page, you can join the messenger group. You can get on that app, and you'll see all the events that are coming up, that we have, the different programs that we have. So we'll begin with light, infinite light being, which is our nature. And then we'll ask Jesus what miracles to perform, what do we need to look at, and in these we focus on what we've looked at with him in the last 2 weeks. And so what I was hearing first to share was this theme that we are looking at this week, which is, or in the last couple of weeks, which is trust. We have another program here that's it's called 90 Days with Jesus. That my partner and I just completed that a couple weeks ago. And one of the main lessons coming off of that was trust. And what Jesus was showing me is that trusting him is trusting myself and trusting God. And what that brought up from what the desire came was from chapter 20. You believe you cannot dispel any belief. You desire an experience where you feel that you do not have the power to dispel beliefs. This is a means by which you delay acceptance of divinity. It is the same as the belief in an order of difficulty in miracles. You desire an experience of an order of difficulty in miracles, and thus hold yourself bound in time. So I can see how I've had this idea about trust and hearing Jesus clearly and directly, and how that relates to desires, and how I still have a desire below my level of awareness to make some desires seem more real, or more powerful, and not as easy to dispel as all desires are the same. Is what he's been showing me, is all desires are the same. And when I look at them with him in the light of infinite being, then I can rest. And then I just let him show me what I need to see, what's most helpful to see for the healing of the mind. And also another very helpful reminder from Jesus is that it's for the whole. It's not personal. So.
A desire he's been showing me is around trust, which comes up in the chapter 20, desires and beliefs, is the desire that I know better than God how to do this, whatever it is. And it's so subtle. It shows up in kind of being on what could be called automatic pilot. Something's presented, and without even thinking about it, I jump in and like start doing. I know how to do this. And in particular, it's been coming up around a technology project or an assignment given by Jesus that uses technology. And I just jump right in, and I noticed I was getting confused about what's next, and da-da-da-da. And then I got upset, and then I had a mighty companion sit down, and we went through it. And Kay joined me, and we started looking at what was underneath the upset. And what was underneath the upset was the desire to think. It couldn't be said it was the desire to know more than God. And also it was the desire not to want to ask in the moment what's next, not to want to trust that the voice for God was right there with the answer, and would be very precise in giving the answer, what button to push, where to go next. So looking at the relishing, the wanting of not wanting to trust that the answer is given in the moment, and then being willing to release that and seeing that, yes, this works. If I'll just let go of all the flack, all the noise going on that says I'm separate and I have to do this by myself.
Yeah, I had the desire also that came up in the last couple of weeks of this can't be done. And Jesus was just showing me that I was making a decision. Okay, I'm making this decision. This can't be done. And then fighting myself over it because I want that experience of fighting with myself. So yeah, that's another way that
it seems so counterintuitive, as one of our mighties said earlier today, to think that I have a desire that I'm going to fight God over everything. And yet, when I start looking, when I really start just saying, okay, do I have this desire? Am I saying, no, I can do this myself? Oh, yes, I do. And the willingness just to look at it directly, not that it's wrong or that there's something I have to go into self-judgment or I'm being judged for it. If anybody's judging me, it's me, the Mary character. But just being willing to look at it directly and say, do I have this desire? And then seeing the relishing of it, the real wanting of that desire, being willing to say, wow, you know what, I can really see where it shows up here. So I really want this. And then looking at it from the light, and then asking all the time to the voice for God, to Jesus, is this something I'm ready to give up? Am I ready to have a different interpretation of this desire? And then allowing it. It's a very simple process, but wowee, do I ever fight it?
Yeah, he was also reminding me of the consistency and really just he tells you keep looking, keep looking when you're looking at something. Another kind of pointer has been that we suffer when we don't want to see something, so then we just stay in the suffering of that rather than stop and say, okay, I'm not at peace. And then just to acknowledge that I'm not at peace has also been another desire that seems like it's more powerful than the light. It's like this desire to keep that hidden from myself, that I'm not at peace, because I actually want that experience of not being at peace, and I want to hide that I'm not at peace from myself. So it's brutal self-attack, and so we're standing in as the light, as a representative of the light, the voice, with each other, to let him reveal all those places that we're trying to hide, where we're not at peace, and just admit it and let him show us another way. So it's chapter 20 is all the beliefs and desires taken from A Course in Miracles, and it's kind of like Kay has called it the Reader's Digest of A Course in Miracles, or like a compact, condensed version. So everything is there, and it's really to help us start a conversation with Jesus, and just look at the fear that comes up with speaking directly to Jesus, but to go below the fear right away, to join in a moment of light right away, so that we can look at the desire without judgment, without fear, without guilt. And so that's the power of joining. And then the consistency of that, just because a lot is coming up where it's like, no, I don't want to look at that. I don't want to look at that. But we just see that. We just see, okay, there's a desire not to look. I have a desire for fear, and then we go below it. So that's kind of the process. And it's this trust, it's building trust. And Jesus says ultimately that trust is an idea, but it's a helpful one as we're learning to hear him clearly. So, and to see that his voice is our voice, that there's nothing that can keep us away from his love. That's one of the songs we heard this morning together in our, after our light circle was I Will Follow Him. And today's lesson is beautiful. It's the name of God is my inheritance, I believe. And so just reminders continuously of how much we're loved, and that we have each other, and that we're going together in this. And chapter 20 is, it takes about 3 to 5 months. And the guidance is to join daily with your brother for about an hour, just looking at the beliefs and the desires. And so we have instructional videos on this. We have a miracle worksheet. We also have a guidance, it's a guidance worksheet, and lots of tools to help us.
Kathleen, are you hearing anything you want to share?
Yeah.
Oh. We might be able to. That way you don't have to.
Okay. So Laura, my beloved partner, and I were joining this week, and I had a very intense relishing picture in my mind, which I'd like to share. One of the desire, well, as Renee was saying, they all can be very, very similar. And this one had to do, dealt with feeling that we were separate from the will of God. So another separation from God focus. And when I was contemplating, I had this picture of myself splitting in two. So there were two Kathleen's, the good Kathleen and the bad Kathleen. And the bad Kathleen decided to push the other Kathleen into a cactus tree. And I was truly impaled on the cactus tree and almost hung up, you know, like on the cross. And the evil twin was watching this action and taking such joy, you know, relishing to such a degree that it was like a birthday party. Just seeing how that self-judgment, putting yourself on the crucifix, being impaled with all the nails from the cactus tree, I mean, the prickles, depending on how you want to look at it. But it was truly this luscious event, and the evil twin was just lapping it up. And it was a very visceral experience for me as I was watching. Oh my goodness, I really, really love this. I love putting myself up, impaled on the cactus tree. And I had a sense of how many decades have gone by where that cactus tree impaling of myself has been a constant. And it was terrifying to see that. But at the same time, I know I was being shown that this has also been, this has been a certain kind of inverted joy. And I was just going with it. So that was very powerful to see it and to feel it in my gut and to feel it all through my body, that this has been a quote, playful pastime to see how much we really just lap up the whole idea of self-punishment, self-judgment, and the sense that we need to hang ourselves on the cross, because that's the default setting. The ego wants to see us up there hanging with no help. And when I saw the two sides of me going through this experience, it was powerful. So that was my little chapter 20 adventure for this week.
What did you hear from Jesus as you really got in touch with that relishing, and then we're talking with him about readiness to see it differently, a different interpretation?
Well, sometimes Jesus will do a play on words, and for Laura and me as we're joining. And what I had heard was that in order to find the diamond, you must go into the mine, but it was spelt MINE / MIND. And so there was that sense of go past some of the fear that you're experiencing as you're relishing, and just see it for what it is. This is just part of the dynamic here. You don't have to be afraid. Just give it to me. Just give it to me. I even as I speak now, I'm feeling the sense of a platter that's being presented.
and he's very willing to take it. Just hand it over so that we can see how the mechanics of this has played out for so long. And all I, Jesus, am saying, I'm here, I'm ready. Just please present me with the platter. You don't have to hold on to this. I'm here so that we can morph this into the love of the moment, the presence.
Beautiful. That's the power of chapter 20,
Mm,
and looking deeply with
mm,
Holy Spirit, with Jesus,
mm.
at what it is we are trying so hard to ignore and avoid and deny, which stands in the way really of that direct connection of communing with Spirit that you might say our heart longs for, which is our deepest desire.
Mm.
Yeah, he's even using desire. He uses everything. He's using everything. Every concept that's held. And just to see that it's just energy and that we're releasing the energy. And so one of the questions we ask is this holding or release? And that's another helpful question to ask Jesus when you're joining, to see if you're ready for a miracle. You can ask it, are we ready for a miracle? And then you can ask, is this holding or release?
Am I still relishing this desire with every cell in my body?
Mm.
Or is there some spaciousness around it now that I've been willing to admit it and look directly at it? And in our joining circles here, we often get to the point of just laughing at how serious we've been about this particular desire. My thoughts have more power than God, or whatever. And we're all sharing, we're hearing what the voice for God is saying, and we're sharing it with each other, sitting quietly, usually with our eyes closed. And then just coming to the realization that this cannot be, that this is just something I made up. And so I can let it go. And there's such freedom and power in that.
Yeah, and full trust. We see that we have that power. We have that power to trust in him fully and see that his voice is our voice.
And the power of joining with a partner to break up that sense we all have of separation and being autonomous from God, from our brother, from each other. This joining through chapter 20, joining to look at desires and beliefs, and having our brothers speak the voice for God and insights to see. To listen and hear and speak what they're hearing, and break up that whole sense of separation and isolation is that it comes out in a lot of our work here at Joining and Light Devotional Center, that in the Course in Miracles, joining is mentioned over 400 times, and the power of the joining with a partner to look at these desires at a very deep level cannot be overstated.
Yeah, what he's saying as well is that we can all hear this voice. It's our natural voice, so everyone can hear Jesus. And if it seems like we're not hearing Jesus, it's because we have a desire not to hear him. And so that's the power of chapter 20, is just looking directly with him at all the ways we don't want to hear the voice for Jesus and speak the voice and follow the voice. So, yeah.
So we've been joined by Laura, who, as you heard earlier, is Kathleen's esteemed partner. And we're talking about chapter 20 and what Jesus has been telling us this week and looking at desires. Is there anything, Laura, not to put you on the spot or anything? Anything you're hearing you want to share?
I think the thing that is.
Well, you might want to just trade with her, maybe. That'll be good. If you want. Do you want to will you switch with her? Yeah, sure. Pop right in. Okay, here we go.
It's short and sweet, so. The thing that's really popping up is this idea of power. And that can seem sort of intimidating to the mind, this power, using our power. And obviously, Jesus keeps pointing us to the fact that our mind is so powerful. This is why we want to pay attention to what we're believing and what's running the engine of in our mind. And so he told us this week to use our power, and then we clarified with him, because there can be these ideas about manifesting and in the world, what does that mean? But the sense was use it to stay focused on the light, to keep bringing the mind back from the mind wandering, or any stories, or in the earth adventure we have that appears like there's others, to just really keep the mind in a very coherent state of awareness, and how incredibly powerful that is. And then we'll hear him more clearly, which is our own true voice and our own divine nature. So that's it. Complete.
Wow.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we're complete.
I think we're complete.
Yep. Okay, so we'll be back in 2 weeks, Saturday at 11. So
Join us.
anyone can join. Yeah, join us anytime. All right.